Michael Tubbs, the former mayor of his hometown, Stockton, California, joins me now. He is the founder of Mayors for a Guaranteed Income, an epic ending poverty in California. He's also special advisor to California Governor Gavin Newsom. Welcome so much to Amplified, Michael. I am so thrilled to have you on the show to break down all the things for us about how real governing looks in cities, because you know ain't a whole lot of governing going down in Congress, because that's not exactly what they do. But I want to say I was so impressed. I met you once. I don't know if you remember this conversation we had in Martha's Vineyard. We were at a little round table thing, and I remember thinking to myself, this brother is so young and so sharp. And I just, wonder, you've got quite an impressive resume, and given politician standards, because so many politicians I get in these jobs and die, and you're like 98 still doing this job. I'm curious what motivates a young, ambitious, thoughtful guy to go into public office.
No, well, first, thanks for having me. And I was wondering if you remembered that we met. So I was thinking about how to bring that up in the course of this conversation. Need to go back to the vineyard. I haven't been back in a couple of years. And I think for me, I actually like governing. And I appreciate how you led with the intro about mayors governing. And that's what really brought me to local government, because it's hard, because it's messy, but because you actually have to deliver and get things done. And a lot of the things I worked on as mayor and as a council member, I had experienced personally. I actually ran for office the first time my senior year in college because my cousin was murdered in Stockton. And Stockton historically and currently has had a problem with gun violence. But gun violence is also the leading cause of death for Black and Latino young men in this country. So that made me think about, okay, what can I do to impact that? And then when we talk about poverty, when we talk about housing insecurity, when we talk about access to fresh fruits, etc., all those things were part of my upbringing. And it felt that at the local level, it's not sexy, it's very hard and difficult, but felt that was the place to actually make an impact and move the needle. So that's what sort of brought me to local government and got me interested in policy. And it was definitely a lot of hard work, but good hearts work. And it also showed me, at least, that it does matter who's in the room. It does matter who's in the seat. It does matter who's having the conversations and who's pushing an agenda forward.
Yeah, I think about Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, who talks about how the people who are closest to the pain are the ones who are best to seek out as we're trying to solve these problems. And, the idea that you had so many things happening around you and then would be the guy to say, I need to stay at home and figure this out and try to solve some of these problems is really meaningful, at least impressive to me, because it takes a lot to be called to action in that way for such a thankless job, dude. Like you just said it, like it's hard work. And I want you to just lay out for people. If you're the mayor of New York City or Atlanta or Chicago, there might be a little sex appeal. There might be a little glamour to it, right? You got you got your car service and you walk around in your shades and you do whatever you do, right? But it's actually the job that, requires making sure the trash is picked up on time, making sure that kids have school lunches. Like there's a whole lot that goes into this. So break down for us when we talk about, the difference in being an actual administrator, governing, leading as a mayor, what you're actually doing in that role so that people can understand how tough it is.
Yeah, well, nothing's rhetorical. Nothing's a tweet. It's always about sort of how do you build the coalition, oftentimes with people you disagree with, oftentimes with people you may not like, oftentimes with people you may not see eye to eye with on most issues. But how do you build a coalition to move the ball forward? And how do you do so on items that are so proximate to people? It's about policing. Your biggest budget expenditure in every city in this country is policing. And it's one thing to say, defund the police. It's another thing to say, okay, how do I govern in a city where the majority of my constituents, Black, brown, white, whoever, actually want police, and every time they see a crime they want more police? And how do you educate about other investments we can make, but how do you also govern in a way where we have to move the ball forward? It's about sort of sitting in meetings and hear from your constituents every week at the council meetings, but also at the grocery store, at church. And because everyone thinks the mayor is the king, when in most cities the mayor is not, you have all these pressures to solve all these issues that you don't have the authority for. So I remember during the pandemic, for example, I was mayor of a city in a very conservative county with a conservative board of supervisors. So I had to fight with them over
Mm.
ARP funds, where instead of giving the city money from the COVID relief from the federal government, they gave all $70 million to the sheriff. I had to fight with them because their public health officer and their board leadership refused to do a mask ordinance and update, a mask update and ordinance when I knew that was going to impact the black and brown people who lived in Stockton. So it was always a constant fight. And then with issues like homelessness, where you don't have any of the resources, but everyone's like, fix it. And you have to work with
Mm.
folks at the county, you have to call the state. So it's really like the ultimate hustle. It's like hustling and
Yeah.
hustling and using influence and making, and then you also have to be the morale leader. You also have to be like the figurehead for
Mm.
the city. So you have to put on, it doesn't matter how you feel. It doesn't matter how tired you are. You have to, we're going to make it. We're going to do it. And then particularly as the first black mayor of my city and the first black mayor in my county's history, a lot of it was also having tough conversations about race and equity, and not being afraid to have fights about
Oof.
whether we should subsidize golf courses, about whether Black Lives Matter in our
Mm.
community. And I get that, so that it's yeah. I'm getting PTSD talking about it. It was
I'm glad
some
that you
good work, but it was hard.
I'm glad that you bring up the fact that you actually have to face constituents. Like, you are on the ground and people are coming up to you and cursing you out about whatever it is that's going down. Or you have to go and stand and account for yourself and the city works and all the things you're doing at public meetings, right? Where people get to weigh in on what's going down. And I just contrast that with the people that you're also battling with to try to get resources, i.e. members of Congress, who sit up on the Hill and don't necessarily have to face their constituents. And I'm thinking about how the Republicans in particular decided they were just going to completely stop taking meetings in the district. They weren't going to do no town halls. So they're up on the Hill blocking all the things that a city like yours needs, right, for the people. They're refusing to fund things. They're not allocating like the resources. They're not moving policy measures that would make it easier to do the work. And then they don't even have to talk to anybody about it, right? They don't even have to come face to face. And I'm curious how it is that you were able to I would say lead up, right? Because there's a certain, kind of restriction, like you said, around how you get the money, and you got to do a dance and like play the politics with the people who hold the purse strings. But then also you're managing down, right? Because you also got to be connected to the constituents. So what was that like for you, kind of in a role of a mayor, being pulled both ways?
Yeah, I think a lot of it was being adamant about relationship building. So my council in Stockton was 4 Republicans and 2 Democrats. So all the progressive things we did, from basic income to protecting immigrants to
Mm.
alternatives to policing to leading the state in decline in officer-involved shootings, was with the majority Republican council, and it was with Republican votes. And it took a
Wow.
lot of time and a lot of relationship building and saying, look, we probably voted for a different president, but on these issues locally, this is where we see eye to eye. And I think it was really forced me to sharpen language around values. And then on the part of proximity, I think that was often the toughest part, because particularly in Stockton, being the first black mayor, being the youngest mayor, there was like just unrealistic expectations that I would have time to be everyone's homie, that I would have time to be at everyone's chicken dinner, that I would
Mm.
have time to go to everyone's birthday. And I just, it was I would get frustrated because it was a blessing, but it was also at some points treat me like every other mayor. Like, allow me to like do the mayor thing and then go home and sleep. Allow me to do what I got to do to raise money for the city and govern in that way. So that was a little bit frustrating, but also just the pain, because Stockton's a great community, but there's a lot of
Mm.
trauma, and I can't tell you how many funeral eulogies I had to do of young people I had
Mm.
taught, or young people who had been interns of mine, or of legends in the community who passed. I would give like a eulogy a month, and that's
Wow.
something I had signed up for. But being mayor, being proximate, it was like, hey, mayor, can you come speak at this funeral? So it was you see a lot of good, but you're also exposed to like the
Mm.
ways in which the city's broken. You're also exposed to the ways in which the
Mm.
people are broken, and
Do you think your age impacted how people received you, being a
yeah, I
younger
think.
mayor?
Oh, it's a blessing and a curse. It was a blessing because brought attention. It was cool, and I tried to be open and accessible. But it was a curse because I think people just had weird feelings of ownership of me and my time, and also didn't like it when I had to be a mayor, when I wasn't just taking selfies, when I was like, no, we're not going to do this, or no, we can't afford that, or no, we're going to do it this way, or no, I need you to course correct, or no, I can't go. Like when I had to like lead for a lot of people, and I mean particularly in the city of Stockton, where the narrative of young Black men in particular is one of criminality. It's one of being the
Mm.
cause of harm. It's one of being sort of the folks receiving
Mm-hmm.
services. So to have a mayor from the same neighborhood, same background, his own father's in prison, dresses like them, looks, speaks like, and to be leading and saying, no, this is what we're going to do as a police department. Like, we're actually an anti-racist city. Like, no,
Mm.
this city belongs to everyone. It rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. But I
Mm-hmm.
made a deliberate choice to not be docile, to not shrink and cower and be scared. But I said, no, I'm elected to lead, and we're going to lead. And
Yeah,
part of
yeah.
leadership is conflict. So,
Well, I want to come back and I want to keep you. We got to go to a quick break, but we're going to come back and we're going to talk about some of the revolutionary policies that you implemented there in Stockton. So we'll be right back. We're going to talk about universal basic income and the Stockton, California experiment next on Amplified. Stay tuned here on BNC. Welcome back to Amplified. Universal basic income was made widely popular during the Democratic 2020 presidential race. But the idea of providing a stipend to people without any strings attached isn't new. I'm here still with the former mayor of Stockton, California, Michael Tubbs, and I am so glad to have you back because, one, you've been dubbed the champion of universal basic income, so we're going to get into that. But I did not realize that you had 4 Republicans that you also had to navigate through, the majority, really, of your council in order to get this done, which is really interesting. So in 2017, when you were in office, you led the Stockton Economic Empowerment Demonstration, or what you called the SEED, a pilot program that helped people out of poverty, or people who were living at the poverty line. Essentially, you implemented universal basic income, giving people checks in a town with a bunch of Republicans. Please tell us about SEED. What is it? Explain to people what UBI is and, how you launched this.
yeah, well, it's interesting because the idea has a strong basis in the civil rights tradition. The National Welfare Organization, a group of Black women, were talking about sort of cash payments and the universal basic income in the 60s. Dr. King and Where Do We Go From Here is where I learned it in his last book, where he talked about abolishing poverty directly with cash, but also the Black Panther Party, where point number 3 of their 10-point plan was a guaranteed job and or a guaranteed income for folks. And in Stockton, the crux of many of the issues we were fighting, in my opinion, were because of poverty. That when we talk about housing insecurity, when we talk about educational attainment, when we talked about violence, we were talking about poverty. And I told my staff I wanted to find a way. I wanted one of our legacies to be, in the time we had, to be an example of how cities could actually fight poverty, how cities could really make opportunity real for constituents and residents. And we're able to partner with the Economic Security Project to pilot a guaranteed income. And this was, again, we announced this in 2017. This was before the presidential primary had really started. This is before sort of stimulus checks. This is before child tax credit. It was really no people in the academic circles were talking about it, but in terms of mainstream politics, it was seen as a crazy idea. And it was in our backdrop.
So to
we had
explain to people exactly what this is, I
Yeah.
want to make sure that we're getting our language right now. We're really clear in our definitions here. So you're talking about a guaranteed income. Tell us specifically what that is when you mean cash checks and how that's different from universal basic income. So what are these programs?
Yeah. So universal basic income is everyone gets a check, whether you're Bill Gates, whether you're Aisha Mills, whether you're Michael Tubbs, whether you have a house, whether you don't, like, no matter what, everyone gets the same amount of money. And a guaranteed income speaks to the fact that it's same like universal basic income, and that's unrestricted cash, but it may not go to everyone. I say it goes to everyone who needs it, right? And I think politically, that's the wisest way. And I think that's I don't think we get to universality without taking care of the folks who need it first. And I approach the conversation not because of this libertarian view of government, but really because I hate poverty. And I don't think we should have poverty. And I think a guaranteed income abolishes poverty and gives everyone at least a foundation to stand upon. So in Stockton, what we did was give 125 families from throughout the city. All they had to do was live in a census tract that was at or below the city's median, $500 a month for 24 months. And we had people who were making less than 40,000, but we also had a couple of people making 50,000, 60,000, 70,000. And an analog to that for folks would be sort of what we saw with the stimulus checks during the pandemic, where folks making 75K or below were given a check and then given another check, et cetera. Or this child tax credit that we're seeing now, which is a guaranteed income for families with children, where if you're a family making 150K or less, you get $300 per kid. So we started testing that in Stockton before the pandemic because I was adamant that poverty was a pandemic and that the best way to be prepared for a fire, an earthquake, or a health crisis was for people to have economic resilience and economic security. So we've done that. And since then, we have like 24 pilots across the country. We started a group called Mayors for Guaranteed Income, where 60 mayors have signed up. And some of the mayors you mentioned, the big mayors that people care about, my good friend Keisha Lance Bottoms, Eric Garcetti, has a Mayor Lightfoot in Chicago just announced a big guaranteed income pilot, where we have all these mayors now saying, let's take it from 125 people, all philanthropically funded, to thousands of people with taxpayer dollars. It's been inspiring to see the growth of the idea.
So let's talk about the politics behind this, though, because I'm remembering, you know, I'm glad you talked about, like, oh, UBI is kind of a libertarian thing. Everybody thinks they should get a check from the government. But it's interesting when we think about poverty alleviation, conservatives are generally against, quote unquote, handouts, right? Like they have traditionally been anti-poor people who happen to be black and brown getting a check, right? Because they're all right with folks who are in Appalachia or the Midwest who are white that need food stamps and those kind of things. But I digress. There are politics to this, though. And to me, it's not surprising that it's been mayors who have taken the risk, because you're living in places where you're looking around you. And like you said, the pandemic of poverty is literally handicapping the city and saying, like, well, I'm going to do something. What am I going to be able to do? I've got to be able to do something. And mayors also have the finger on the pulse to actually enact these kinds of programs in a way that, you know, like you said earlier, you're not just pontificating about it. I'm curious what you've been running into, like what has happened that now there's a pickup across the country? Where's this new appetite coming from? And are you finding it to be bipartisan or to be centered in places that already, you know, have a progressive slant, if you will?
Yeah, well, I think the pandemic really helped sharpen focus. I think because mayors were viscerally thinking, how do I get people to eat? People who want to work can't go to work because everything's shut down. What are they going to do? Unemployment benefits are expiring. Our folks aren't able to access unemployment benefits. How do I help? So as a mixture of the pandemic and also the Black Lives Matter protest, when we all realized that our citizens weren't just protesting police brutality, they were protesting structural violence. They were protesting lack of opportunity and thinking, how are we best responsive to the moment, is how I started Mayors for Guaranteed Income. And in the politics, we see it's mostly Democratic mayors who are leading it, but Democratic mayors from incredibly progressive, like my good friend, the mayor of Oakland, to more moderate, like my good friend, Mayor Steve Benjamin in Columbia, South Carolina, or more centrist, like my good friend, Mayor Keisha Bottoms in Atlanta. Like it's on the Democratic side, it's throughout the ideological spectrum, and in places like Wausau, Wisconsin, or places like LA, or places like Chicago, places like Gainesville, Florida, or places like Stockton, California, where it's kind of Democratic mayors that have some of the courage to go first, but really Democratic mayors from throughout the country, where Democrat is a term that means different things in different places. In terms of our Republican colleagues, none have set up a pilot, but last year, the U.S. Conference of Mayors unanimously, a bipartisan group of 300 mayors unanimously passed a resolution calling on Congress to enact a basic income during the pandemic, calling on Congress to support pilots, calling on Congress to evaluate. So I think there's energy there, and I've been in talks with a lot of my Republican friends, but no one wants to go first, particularly because the Republican Party has been hijacked by like white nationalists, white supremacists, neo-fascism. So no one wants to be a target. No one wants to go first. So I'm trying to get like two or three to come in together and be like the three Republican mayors. Because look, Republicans need money too. Appalachia,
Yeah, exactly.
like West Virginia,
Yep.
like they would really benefit from a guaranteed income. So that's the next chapter, is figuring out how to get some Republican mayors who are
We
supposed
need
to
to
be more
put you in a room
pragmatic.
with Joe Manchin before we even get to the Republicans. That's a whole other thing we need to get you to do.
I am so in.
Michael
I would
Tubbs,
love
thank you
that.
so much for thank you so much for talking us through this, because we know that this is actually working. We've had some of these conversations previously on Amplified about what happens when you do a guaranteed income. It's helping to alleviate poverty. So thank you for piloting this, and we're definitely going to have you back to talk more about all the things.